rescue happening right now. The search is on for a person who robbed a gas station at knife point this morning. News Channel 5's Cuthbert Langley live for us at the West Nashville Police Precinct getting the latest information. And they do have a surveillance tape that they're looking at to try to find this guy, right?
They do. Video is definitely helping them out. There were several cameras inside of this gas station that are helping them kind of get a description of this guy. But the hard thing is he had a mask on, so obviously that covered up his face, making the job difficult for Metro Police this morning. But here's what we know in terms of what the suspect was wearing. He's described as being a white male, again, wearing that mask with a camouflage coat, black pants, black and white tennis shoes, and gloves. Here's what we know about what happened last night. He is accused of robbing this Daly's gas station there on Charlotte Pike around 12:45. He pointed a knife at the cashier, demanded money, grabbed the money from that cashier, and then left the store in a white car, according to the gas station attendant. But here's where the story kind of gets a little bit more interesting. Police happened to be just patrolling the area, found a suspect that matched the description, or a guy rather, that matched the description, put him in handcuffs, put him in the back of the car, and then released him just a short time later because that was not the suspect they were looking for. So they brought out the dogs to try to track down some sort of a track of the suspect, but that didn't work either. So Metro Police definitely have a lot of hard work ahead of them this morning. Now, it's unknown at this point exactly how much money this guy made away with this morning, but we do know, thankfully, that gas clerk is fine. There were no injuries to report. Reporting live here at the West Precinct this morning, I'm Cuthbert Langley, News Channel 5 HD.
Cuthbert, thanks for the update. New this morning for you, a Clarksville man facing charges for nearly shooting a baby. The Leaf Chronicle tells us 55-year-old Gregory Brown got into an argument with another man inside a home on Yvonne Drive, and during the argument, Brown allegedly fired a handgun, the bullet traveling through a wall and a baby's crib before finally lodging in another wall. It stopped before entering a room where his 10-month-old child was sleeping. Brown is charged with reckless endangerment. This is a sickening story. A Hopkinsville teenager recovering this morning after a violent sexual attack that nearly killed him. Sources say the 15-year-old boy is a sophomore at Hopkinsville High School. He was at a house party early Sunday morning on Lafayette Road. The boy allegedly passed out when Dayton Jones, Tyler Perry, and a 17-year-old sexually assaulted him with an object. It caused serious internal injuries and caused a near-fatal infection. Investigators say the young man also put the assault on social media. Another 17-year-old was also charged for having that video. All four are now in jail. Jones, who was kicked off the Arkansas State golf team because of his arrest, is being held on a $1 million bond.
And Steve, charges against two suspects connected to the Holly Bobo murder and kidnapping case have been dropped. Dylan Adams and Mark Piercy will no longer be charged with tampering with evidence. They decided to drop those charges in court yesterday. Adams, however, still faces rape charges. Both men also face outstanding federal gun charges as well.
The man who killed Grand Ole Opry star Stringbean Aikman and his wife Estelle will soon be a free man. John Brown and his cousin Marvin were both convicted for the murders during a failed robbery attempt back in 1973. Now, Marvin died years ago behind bars. John served 41 years. He's now 64 years of age. During a teleconference from prison, Brown told the board he is a very changed man, and the parole board agreed. However, that decision's still not sitting well with friends of the victims.
I think it's the biggest miscarriage of justice outside of the murders of String and Estelle. I mean, that was premeditated murder. I'm not sure this isn't.
Brown will be released in the next few weeks. He plans to live with his wife of more than 40 years here in Nashville.
And police say the two people found shot to death in a Portland home were the victims of an apparent murder-suicide. Chief Richard Smith says Richard Hensley called his estranged wife, Tammy Hodges, Tuesday afternoon. He asked her to stop by his house on Jackson Road to talk. Investigators believe Hensley shot her, then turned the gun on himself. Friends told police Hensley had recently threatened to kill Hodges if she refused to reconcile. Two MTA buses are in the shop after a fender bender in Madison happened yesterday afternoon at the intersection of Gallatin Pike South and Neely's Bend Road in Madison. One passenger was treated at the scene for some minor injuries. Officials say the damage to the buses is minimal.
Metro Police need your help identifying a couple of robbers targeting Wendy's restaurants. Where's the beef? Here's who they're looking for. The pair robbing the Wendy's on South Gallatin Pike Friday. Both suspects jumping over the counter, one ordering the cashier to open the register. The other one forces the manager into the office at gunpoint. Investigators believe those two also robbed a Wendy's in Hermitage last month. Call Crime Stoppers. Of course, their number 74-CRIME if you can help.
A mid-state business owner facing prison time for collecting taxes from customers but not paying Uncle Sam. State revenue investigators charge Miktesh Kohani with tax evasion and theft. A grand jury indicted him for failing to pay nearly $75,000 in sales taxes from his M&M Sparta smoke store in McMinnville. He could also be hit with up to $34,000 in fines.
Hey, new this morning for you, more than 1,700 Nashville Electric Service customers were without the power overnight. Why? Well, look at that massive tree falling across the roadway and a power line. It's not supposed to be there. That's McCrory Lane and Avondale Park Boulevard. So the crews were cutting all night long, getting that tree off the power lines. They did make quick work of it. Power's back on now to everybody, but boy, they worked all night long on that.
They did, but sometimes people don't want to work in their yard so much. A messy yard, in fact, in East Tennessee, landed one homeowner behind bars.
We're talking about Lenore City. They cited Karen Holloway for not properly maintaining her yard. Now, here's a picture of it. She admits, okay, yeah, it's overgrown. It needs some work. But she says that's not a criminal offense, or at least it shouldn't be. Well, the judge disagreed and sentenced her to 6 hours in jail.
Why would you put me in jail with child molesters and people who've done real crimes? Because I haven't maintained my yard up to the city standards.
I'd have put her in the yard and said, get to work.
Yeah.
Police say the punishment was justified because the Holloway's house has been unkept and in disrepair for nearly 12 years. That's probably what the judge would do to me, too.
That's
what my neighbors would do to my neighbors want me to do that.
Holloway's going to be back in court next month, where a judge and codes enforcement officer will determine if her cleanup efforts meet the city regulations. And some people don't like that. I love to work in the yard.
Yeah.
I could do it all day.
Yeah.
But some people hate it.
Hers looked a little overgrown.
Yeah, yeah. Had a little too much water or something. All right.